Okay, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. I use this platform to share my life journey, my journey with Christ, and how I understand His Word, and also the journeys or the experiences of other people through meaningful conversations. So today we are having another meaningful conversation, and here with me I have my sister Geraldine Dinkis Buteka. Thank you so much for being here. Feel free, feel comfortable, and let's enjoy this conversation.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have questions that will just help us or guide us into a conversation. But before that, I have a question that I did not write down.
Okay.
So I want to ask that question. So I want to ask, are you content?
Oh, you start deep. You start deep. Interesting enough, contentment has been a word that has come up repeatedly in my life over the years. There's a scripture that says, contentment with godliness is great gain. So that is the dream, that is the ideal.
Yeah.
To get to a place where I fully experience being in a moment, and it may not be what I would have liked it to be, but the fact that I am there is enough. Because contentment for me is about being realizing that it is enough, and realizing that enough is enough.
Ooh.
But in a positive, normally we say enough is enough, in a sort of an angry, resistant kind of way, but not in that kind of way. Just in a soft, gentle, enough is enough. And so, am I content? Yes. Why am I content? Because I have Jesus.
Wow.
And Jesus is everything.
Yes.
And in Him is
everything.
Am I always happy? No. Do I always fully experience joy? No. That's still part of the journey. But do I experience that absolute sense of I am here and this is enough? Yes.
So contentment has nothing to do with satisfaction.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because being satisfied is relative. It's satisfaction, happiness, success. Those are all words that are relative. It's context related. How I see success and you see success is not the same.
Wow.
What satisfies me and what satisfies you is not the same. So it's fleeting. Happiness the same. It can be here today, it can be gone tomorrow. But contentment is a steady assurance that this is enough. This is enough.
Wow.
So I don't think the two are the same.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's get into these questions. Oh man, alles begint te piep. Okay, let's go. You can also say that I'm not comfortable to answer the question, and we can take another one.
Yes.
So what is your biggest take from motherhood?
Parenting.
Yes.
I would say there are two. The first one is that for the most part, I am not raising the child in front of me. I am raising the child inside of me.
Okay?
Because of the broken world that we live in. And because I really only have agency, control over the person inside of me, I really only have influence over the person inside of me. That is where the work needs to happen.
Wow.
And I need to live from that. If there are things in my child that is frustrating and irritating me, I need to be able to sit and ask me, what is causing that? What is that speaking to? And more often than not, I find that I can actually trace it back to something that happened to me And now I have a reaction to that. So many times it's really not about what the child is doing, but it is about what is happening inside of me while the child is doing that. And when I do that inner work, that inner reflection, that inner look, I am able to show up in a more present, more loving, more connected way to the child in front of me.
Yes.
But if I don't do that, what do I want to do? Correct.
Yes.
I immediately just want to correct. And one of my parenting mantras is connection over correction. First connect, because in any case, nobody is open to any correction if they do not feel that connection.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that for me is, it's more about raising the child inside of me than the child in front of me. And when I show that, when I show my children that I'm taking care of the child inside of me, that I'm holding the child inside of me accountable.
Yes.
I'm modeling what they will do.
Yes. Yes.
And that for me is the beautiful thing about Jesus, about the walk with Jesus. He could have just sent his word. It could have just been the word, and it could have just been the interactions that people had with God in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
But that is not what he did. Jesus himself came. And he didn't just come as this outside force who has all these powers. He became like us.
Yes.
And he spent 33 years, 33 human years here. And 3 of those 33 human years, he actually did the work and the miracles.
Yes.
But 30 of those years he lived. He simply just lived and he modeled. He modeled how it should be.
Yes.
So that is my biggest takeaway from parenting, and I guess from marriage as well, that it is not about changing the other person. It's about doing the work on the inside.
Sure.
And then the second thing is, let love be the final word.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing, but it is a thing that can keep you grounded. And the Bible, again, so beautiful in 1 Corinthians 13, it tells us what love is. So I am able to truly apply it and say, am I patient? Am I kind?
Yeah.
Am I now keeping record of the wrong? And I fail by far. Oh, I fail by far. But it is a beautiful assurance that the Holy Spirit is there to enable me to do that. And every morning that I wake up is another chance. It's another opportunity to let love be the final word.
Ooh, the fire. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Let us continue. Ons sal weer aangaan. What advice would you give to someone that's starting work or a job at a new place for the very first time? This is the person's first time entering the job arena, if we can say that. Yeah.
See, the challenging thing with starting anything new, whether it's a relationship, whether it's job, it doesn't matter, is if you do not know who you are, you will show up in this space, you will read the room as best as you can, and you will show up in the way that you think is fitting for that room. And I see that a lot with people coming into the workplace.
Yes.
And then I hear the comments afterwards that, no, she's not the same person she was when she started. That's even where the phrase comes from of Aniva Besem vir skool.
Yeah.
Because what do you want to do? You want to come and impress. But what you do is you set a standard, an unhealthy standard that you cannot maintain. So it's the inner work. It's the being comfortable with who you are, being clear on what your values are.
Yes.
And I'm learning it a lot recently. I know it, but I somehow do not embrace it. So I guess I'm being put through it a lot again. When you have a strong yes, it's easy to say no. We do it the opposite way. We focus on strengthening our saying no muscle. But what we must focus on is strengthening what is our yes.
Yeah.
Who are we?
Yes.
What are our values? What are the things that drives us? And then just loving ourselves. Just absolutely loving ourselves and showing up as that person. And knowing that not everybody's going to like that. And that is okay.
And that is okay.
That is okay.
Yeah.
And that is the important thing about the workplace.
Yeah.
You're there to render a service. So clarity, clarity, clarity. Love is clear. Be clear on what are the expectations. What does the company expect of you? What is the manager expecting of you? Be clear on whether you are able to do it.
Yes.
And if you are not able to do it, speak up.
Yes.
The sooner, the better. I personally, as a people leader, as a manager, I have tremendous respect for an individual who says, I don't know how to do that. I struggle with individuals who say,
Yeah.
and then you see they dodge you. The work is not delivered. By the time I then discover that you didn't know how to do it, we've lost so much time. The pressure is high, and the whole department is at stake. But if you from the onset say, I don't know how to do it yet,
Wow.
I would love to learn how
Yes.
to do it,
Yes.
then we would be open to teach you.
Okay, so what I'm really getting from you today is that whether at your workplace, whether with your relationship with your children or marriage, it is the inner work.
Absolutely.
It is important. And do you think we lack that, en is dit seker omdat daar ons vir onsself we are not we are struggling with self-awareness.
Yes.
And also can it be also self-development?
Yes. I think firstly, and I am no theologian, didn't study, I read the Bible and I hope my interpretation is correct. So Jesus says that the two greatest commandments is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. And to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I can definitely speak for myself that I was an adult when I looked at that verse differently. The order I was taught was God first, then others. But when I read that verse, I can only love others to the extent that I love myself.
Oh yes.
Because I have to love my neighbor as I love myself. So it has to be God, then me, then the neighbor. But we are also conditioned that that's being selfish.
Oh, it's true.
So we are so focused on how other people are feeling, how we make other people feel, whether it's good or bad. Some of us even take pride in the fact that I now gave you a piece of my mind and you're now feeling it. So it's not just from the good side. I want to make sure you're okay. It's also from the negative side of I want to make sure you know you were wrong. The point is we are very concerned on what's happening with and for the others, and not very concerned about ourselves.
Sure, that's fire.
And that is a block. That keeps us from doing the internal work. Secondly, I also think it's scary. The things that we uncover when we do sit with ourselves. We get to learn things about ourselves that's uncomfortable. And again, we are raised that if something doesn't work, throw it away. If something is ugly, discard of it. But we are human beings in a sinful realm, in a sinful state. Not all of our parts are beautiful,
yes,
but all of our parts are lovable. And if we can learn that, because we do consist of many parts. Again, we see that beautifully in the Bible, the body with many members. That's also the same for us. We have our different parts. There are parts of me that I do not like. When I am under pressure, my tongue can become very sharp. I do not like that about myself. And I've tried to outrun that part of me. I've tried to pretend that that's not who I am. But it's only when I come to the place of accepting that this is a part of me that I can get curious about, why does this part show up? And that's why I'm now able to say, it's when I am tired and under pressure.
Yes.
Now I can do something about it. Now I can try and schedule my work in such a way that I don't get to a point where I have tight deadlines and not enough time to deliver. Now I can take care of my body, that I don't get to a place where I'm depleted my internal resources. But how did I get there? I accepted that ugly part of me and I got curious. But it is something that we, especially as parents, we need to be very intentional about. Because we do things like, you did something that I didn't like, time out. What are we teaching? I don't want to deal with that ugliness.
Oh, and that's not love.
And that's not love.
Sure.
We tell our kids, please, when we get to Auntie so-and-so's house, don't speak like that, don't do that. What are we telling them? Hide the ugly parts. Don't let the world see that.
Yeah.
So then what we do, that's what's been modeled to us, we hide. We hide the ugly parts. So people might get curious. You might sit, but then these ugly parts come and then you shut it down. We also tend to bring this message of wash yourself, be good, and come to Jesus. But that's the opposite.
Yes.
Jesus came because we cannot wash ourselves.
Exactly.
Because we cannot be good without Him. And He sees and He knows our ugly parts and He accepts it.
Yes.
And accepting doesn't mean it's now just going to be like that. It doesn't mean this is who I am.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Accepting is the gateway to curiosity. It's only when you can say, this is what it is, that you can ask, why is it the way it is? Now you can engage.
What can I do about it?
Now the shame, you let go of the shame. You let go of the guilt. And you just look at the thing for what it is. And now you can say, so I can do that, and I can do that, and I can do that. So we are definitely a generation that's, in my opinion, asleep. In the sense of, we do not know ourselves. And that is the work that needs to take place. And it's absolutely, even the term I love myself, to be able to say I love myself. You cannot love what you do not know.
Yes.
So before you can love yourself, you have to know yourself. But how many of us genuinely sit and spend time with ourselves?
Yes.
Between the phones and the friends and the exciting lives out there, we are constantly on. We're constantly busy.
Yes.
When do we get to hear the inner parts of us? Sometimes we get in places, something that's very interesting for me, and sorry I'm speaking a lot.
Yeah, but you're right.
But when I started making the time to sit with my feelings, to understand, because it's not just feelings, it's also body sensations.
Yes. Ooh.
Because we feel things in our body speaks to us. Do you know that I've realized that the feeling that I feel in my stomach when I see Gabs, my husband, and the feeling that I feel in my stomach when I think something terrible is going to happen feels very similar. Feeling in love and feeling anxious in your tummy can show up in the same way.
I want to agree. Yes.
And immediately when I had that realization, I thought about my girls. I thought, oh my goodness, they could be falling in love with this dangerous guy. And what they're actually feeling is anxiety. But they think it's being in love.
Yes.
Now, since I've made the discovery, I've sat a bit more. And I felt that feeling a bit more. And now I can differentiate. There's a second body sensation that comes. And that's a tightness in my chest. And that I only experience when I'm anxious. That I do not experience when I'm excited to see my husband.
Yes.
But it is...
Now what do you get then when you... What is now the difference? Okay, the difference is here. But when you see your husband...
I just feel, okay, for me, the second feeling that comes is a weakness in my knees.
Okay.
And here's the thing, you literally slow-mo it. It's not chip, 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 you feel it.
But you are so aware. How did you get to this point?
Oh, lots of horrible things happened.
You are so aware of your body, and it's so important.
But it's practice. The thing is, it's being able to sit. And in the beginning, it was very uncomfortable. It's getting much more comfortable now because I'm doing it very often. But in the beginning, it was very uncomfortable to just sit and do what? You know, no music, no phone, no nothing, no distraction.
So you just
sit.
Wow.
Then my mind wanders. So in the beginning, I struggled. Oh, I'm thinking this? I'm supposed to be.
Sorry. I want us to take this as a tip of self-awareness.
Yes.
To be, if you want to become more self-aware and want to work on yourself, let us take this as our first step.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I sit, for example, with you, and we have a conversation. I'm listening. I'm paying attention. When my mind wanders, which it will happen. Like for example, now I'm thinking, we need to finish up because I need to get to Abigail. My mind wanders. I don't go on a path of, why am I thinking that? I'm supposed to be listening to Tasha, get back to the conversation. I just come back to the conversation. I just take note that it wanders, and I come back to the conversation. But I'm here. I'm listening. I'm seeing that you're nodding your head. You're saying, I'm seeing that your hand is there. I'm taking it all in. I'm present.
Yes.
That's the exact same practice with myself.
When you are alone.
Sit. I'm alone.
Yes.
Sometimes I laugh. The thought comes, this is so stupid. This is so silly. This is, why are we doing it? I struggled a lot in the beginning until I learned that it is natural for the mind to wander. Don't fight that. So then I sit and then the thought comes, oh my goodness, Geraldine, what are you doing? And then I'm just like, okay, let's just come back. But come back to what? So that's where breathing became powerful for me. And breathing is so incredible because what is the one thing that God put inside of us? It's His breath.
Yes.
So it's such a connection to our Creator. So I will intentionally focus on my breathing. I will speak to myself. I will say, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to feel, where do I feel tension in my body? Just going to relax as much as possible my body. I feel tension slightly in my shoulders. So I will just gently move my shoulders, just roll it gently. And then the mind goes, and then I say, okay, that's okay, let's get back to the shoulders. And just intentionally spending that time with myself, bringing the focus time and time and time and time again back. And in the beginning, it was a minute. And a minute felt like 30 minutes. Now, I can do it for 10, 15 minutes without it feeling like an eternity. I'm just there, I'm just with myself. I'm in conversation with myself. Sometimes it's loud conversation, that actually works for me. Sometimes it's just conversation in the head. But I'm intentional about getting to know
your body.
My body. I also do things like standing in the mirror and saying what I don't like about my body. Getting that out. And then looking at it beyond just the appearance. So one of the things I really love doing is, and I call this my gratitude practice, is to really sit, like for example what I did now with my shoulders, I feel the tension there. I would then continue to say, I'm so grateful for you, my shoulders.
Wow.
So grateful for how you carry me. And I'm sorry, I spent too much time in front of the computer today. I didn't take enough breaks, I didn't stretch, and that's why there's tension there. I will do better tomorrow. You know, but starting to appreciate my body for what it does, because that's also another lie. That our bodies, the whole focus on our bodies is image. But our bodies was created for other things, and it does the work.
Yeah, indeed.
Our feet as full of veins and whatever, our legs it may be, it carries us to where it should carry. And especially when you start doing physical activity, which I'm currently not doing, but at the time when I was running, I fell completely in love with the strength of my body. Something as simple as stretching. I fell absolutely in love with the flexibility. You know, that your knee is able to bend and stay in a certain position. So it's absolutely coming with no expectation, no judgment.
Yes.
But with the intention to get to know what you're going to find. And if we can show up like that even in relationships, that makes the difference. If you come to a place just with the intention of learning what is there and appreciating what is there, you look at it differently. But if you're coming with different expectations, all you see is how this doesn't meet that expectation and how this doesn't meet that expectation. And I've been unkind to my body, to myself for such a long time because I had this unrealistic expectation. But when I learned to say no expectations, Geraldine, I just want to get to know you. Oh, I fell in love with Geraldine.
Yeah, now can we say connecting with your body is the first step to self-awareness?
Definitely. For me, that was definitely it. It's concrete. It's something that I can actually do. It's there. I can touch my knee. I can feel it. Yeah, absolutely. You said it beautifully. I agree.
Wow. Sure. We must have a whole conversation on self-awareness.
Yes.
And just unpack it. But because I realize now that it comes back to yourself.
Absolutely.
Because alles komt van binneaf. Geen met gee. Maar wherever you go, it must come from the inside.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it's really the one place where you really have the agency. You really have the ability to do something. And I think also that is what makes it scary for people. Because there you run out of excuses. Whereas when the control lies outside and the power lies outside, it's very easy to say, they didn't. But when it is with you, accountability is high. And you have to deliver. And when you also do not deliver, it is on you.
Yes.
But here's the beautiful thing about standing in a loving relationship with yourself. In love, there is no judgment. So when I make a mistake, I don't have permission to judge myself. I simply have permission to love myself. And how does love look like? It's kind, it's patient, it doesn't keep record of the wrong, and. So I need to show that kind of love to myself. And here's the other beautiful thing. It's practice ground. I practice it on myself.
Yes.
I'm strengthening those muscles, and it makes it easier in the other relationship. Maybe not easier, more possible.
Yeah.
Because love is not an easy thing. It's
more
easy.
possible.
More possible.
And
I have the practice.
Yes, it's like it's familiar.
Yes.
Because you've been
Yes.
practicing it.
Yes.
So
and it becomes a habit. It becomes a part of who you are.
Yes.
Because that's what you do. You are kind. And it's a genuine, real kindness because it's a kindness that you show towards yourself.
Yeah. I don't know if we should even ask another question.
Yeah.
But let's ask one last question.
Yes.
From here. Okay. How is your relationship with God at the moment?
At the moment.
Yes.
That is a very interesting question. And it immediately makes me want to jump to putting in these measures the way I would have answered it maybe 5 years ago. Where I immediately now start looking at, am I praying often enough? Am I reading the Bible? Because again, that's also how we've been conditioned.
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer for you. I can't give a measure. I can't say my relationship with God is good. I can also not say my relationship with God is bad. Not because I do not know, but simply because my relationship with God is. I don't know if it is my relationship with God. He is consistent. He is absolutely consistent.
Yes.
The Jesus that I met so many years ago, when I surrendered to him.
Give an answer.
Okay. It's okay.
So we will have to end here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for this whole lot of wisdom. I love you and I appreciate you.
Thank